Welcome to another Fantasy Goodfellas video where we bring you the top 15 tight end rankings for week 5. You ready?
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
All right, before we get started, let me remind you these are not our predictions. These are Fantasy Pro predictions. We're just going to talk about them. Number 1, Trey McBride versus the Tennessee Titans. The problem I have with all these tight ends is it's all about scoring and getting into the end zone. Here, Trey McBride got 52 receiving yards, and he was ranked 16. It's because he didn't get into the end zone. Number 2, you have Brock Bowers at the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Brock Bowers has had a decent season, and if you look at his rankings, he was the 3rd top tight end in week 1, and then he's been outside every week since. So if you look back here at number 3, we have Tyler Warren versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Tyler Warren was the top 3rd tight end for week 4. He did that with 70 receiving yards and he got that rushing touchdown, which is pretty rare for a tight end anyways. At number 4, you got Sam LaPorta at the Cincinnati Bengals. Sam LaPorta had 39 receiving yards. That was good for 23rd. If you look overall, that offense didn't put up as many yards as they can. But that was 168 passing yards from Jared Goff. They're going to need more than that. At number 5, Hunter Henry at the Buffalo Bills. Hunter Henry did get into the end zone with a receiving touchdown, and that bumped him all the way to rank 8th in tight ends. At number 6, Travis Kelce at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, Travis Kelce is obviously getting older in his career, but if you look at his yards, he hasn't cracked the top one. He hasn't cracked 100 yards yet, and I believe he's got into the end zone once. If you picked Kelce hoping he was Kelce of earlier years, well, that's not happening. At number 7, Jake Ferguson at the New York Jets. I think Jake Ferguson can have a monster game versus the Jets. You saw what Darren Waller did against the Jets. Can Jake Ferguson match that? I think he can. At number 8, Mark Andrews versus the Houston Texans. Mark Andrews had 30 receiving yards. You see, it's all about the end zone. He didn't get into the end zone, so that's going to hurt him. At number 9, Juwan Johnson versus the New York Giants. Juwan Johnson, 28 receiving yards. Nothing to write home about. But he's been decent this season. He's been outside, just outside the top 15, 3 out of the 4 weeks this season. Not bad. At number 10, Dalton Kincaid versus the New England Patriots. Kincaid was the 10th ranked tight end in week 4 because he got into the end zone. Like I've always said, make your picks and make your decisions based upon the ability of them getting into the end zone. Number 11, Zach Ertz versus the Cleveland Browns. Zach Ertz, 21 receiving yards, only 4 targets. That's normal, nothing. But why they rank him so high? It must be against the Cleveland Browns. At number 12, Dallas Goedert versus the Denver Broncos. Guess what? That was your top tight end in week 4 because he got 2 receiving touchdowns. Can you do it again in week 5? Doubt it. Number 13, David Njoku versus the Minnesota Vikings. Why he keeps on getting ranked is off of potential because he's not been anywhere inside the top 15 yet this season, but he's still ranked so high. What is going on? Fantasy pros, do better. Number 14, TJ Hawkinson at the Cleveland Browns. Hawkinson, 39 receiving yards. I think he's getting more productive now that Carson Wentz is putting up 350 passing yards. that bodes well because some of them can go Hawkinson's way this week. And I think it will if Wentz can continue. And at number 15, Dalton Schultz at the Baltimore Ravens. What did he do? He was ranked 26, 30 receiving yards. So before I move on, that's your top 10 tight end rankings for week 5. But let's just go and look